is remembered to have been a very strict chairman in terms of on issues to do with agriculture, cleanliness, cleaning roads, clearing wells, and things like that. And some people in Mubende remember him as one leader who would even cane or even imprison those that were big-headed when it came to issues like cleanliness and clearing wells and agriculture and development, economics, things like that. Yes, so he served as the LC5 of Mubende and also a director of stores in the Uganda People's Defense Forces. While at the rank of brigadier on the 31st of January 2005, Kasirye Gwanga was retired from the army by the UPDF officials, and however, after 3 months, he asked to be reinstated. The UPDF leadership agreed to his plea, and he was allowed to be reinstated as a soldier in the UPDF, and he served not until his contract. He was reinstated on a contractual basis, and when the contract elapsed, that was in 2018, he was promoted to the rank of Major General and retired gracefully. Reported of his sickness started coming in around January, February, but he has been under treatment here at the Nakasero Hospital, where he breathed his last this early morning, and the news started coming through that Kasirye Gwanga, the Major General, has breathed his last. Like I mentioned in the profile, like I mentioned in the brief, yeah, as you can see, the administration of Nakasero Hospital has denied access to everyone, including us journalists. We are broadcasting to you live from outside the guest. We have been denied access to the inside of the hospital, and you can see one of somebody here who has been denied access as well, just like the rest of us who came to get to know what is happening here and what is to happen next. But as you can see, family and friends are flocking in to ensure that all is moving on well, to prepare for his burial and send-off and things like that. Yes, Kasirye Gwanga has been known as a serious no-nonsense general on issues that he believed in. A few years ago, not more than 2 years ago, he's remembered in an incident where he burnt a tractor of somebody who was trying to invade his land. Yes. On an issue where he didn't believe in something, he would take action right away. He found this land trying to grade, the tractor trying to grade his land. He shot at it, and the tractor got burnt. The issues are still on. From there, he's still remembered for having shot some trucks that were felling trees in some areas of Mubende, an issue he didn't totally agree with because he thought the problems of environmental problems that are in Mubende were due to tree cutting and deforestation in that area. So he was against whoever was facilitating the cutting of trees in that area, so he shot at trucks that were felling trees from Mubende. Again, he's remembered in an incident where somebody was trying to have a disagreement with his children around Machindia. When he went there, he shot at the tires of this car owned by the person, and I remember that was one of the musicians in this town, Catherine Guzasira, who had an issue with his children. Kasirye Gwanga sorted the matter that way. Yes, he is remembered as a notorious no-nonsense general, although in many cases he has been a very social man, a very good advisor on issues especially to do with agriculture. He so much loved growing of passion fruit because he thought they were so lucrative. He believed in coffee growing, he believed in vegetation, he believed in good environment, and all this he performed, and he also preached. Whenever he got an opportunity to be on any media platform, he would preach agriculture, he would preach coffee growing, he would preach passion fruit growing, he would preach rearing of goats, pigs, cows, and things like that. And at his heart, Kasirye Gwanga always was hurting that in the central region, the levels of agriculture were not at that peak like he thought, because he thought the days of his childhood, Buganda was a hub of agriculture, and he thought people were really giving in their all to ensure that Buganda was developing. He was so disappointed with the people of today, whom he thought were not taking agriculture that serious. And whenever he got an opportunity to speak anywhere on any platform, preaching agriculture was his thing, and he was known for that. Today, there's no more Kasirye Gwanga as he goes to meet the Lord, and we just pray that he rests in eternal peace. We'll keep giving you more updates on the programs for his send-off We have had a number of UPDF generals coming in here. Having been a senior in the army, of course, his colleagues have to take over and to ensure that he is given a treatment that he deserves as a senior general, a commander for that. Like you've had in the profile that I've given you, he commanded the 120mm artillery unit of the Uganda People's Defense Forces. That is after 1986, when they had just come in. Yes. So the Uganda People's Defense Forces have lost a senior army officer. The Anglican Church has lost a big son. Mityana region, that is Greater Mityana, Mubende, Mityana, in Buganda we call it the single county. They have lost a serious pillar, a son. And a number of categories of units of society have lost somebody, but Uganda in general has lost a gallant son who did not only fight for peace, but he also ensured it through preaching economic development, income, household incomes, through the preaching of agriculture and things like that, coffee growing and coffee whatever. Kasirye Gwanga has been a pillar in the promotion of agriculture and things like that. So we'll keep you posted on whatever will be happening here at Nakasero Hospital. We'll go to his home, we'll give you the vigil and whatever program that government and all the authorities will come in with to ensure his good send-off. Will be updating you. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. I'm here with Mugoya Daniel and Emon Ngabo to give you whatever that will be happening here. We expect to see the body all probably being taken out or to a funeral home or something like that. We are still camping here at Nakasero Hospital. Even when the administration has denied us access inside, we'll keep around to give you the details of the whole, of whatever will develop here. Thank you so much for watching. Back to studio.
Well, thank you so much, Michael Jordan Lukomwa, just right there at Nakasero Hospital, together with our colleagues, Oga Mugoya and Emon Ngabo, giving us, of course, that update of what is happening at Nakasero Hospital. Now, we all now know it's confirmed that General Waswa Kasirye Gwanga is no more. We will just remember and talk about him, and what an irony that he dies on this day, on Heroes Day 2020. Now, amidst the pandemic of COVID-19, and yet again, when we are so supposed to celebrate many or much of these events scientifically. Now, Michael Jordan Lukomwa has just given us an insight there of who this man Kasirye Gwanga was. We remember very well that he joined the forces in 1972, and he served there for all his time. I took a break, went to Mubende, where he also served as a LC5 chairperson, very well remembered as the governor of Mubende. Until, well, then when he came back to the main fold of the force to serve there, went through different ranks up to the rank of a 2-star general. That's a major general where he died. Now remember, the rumors of Kasirye Gwanga's sickness or illness started sometime in February this year, when the rumors were skewed to actually mean or say that he was arrested for his controversial discussions or talks, but he was taken to Mbia Military Hospital for treatment thereabout, and he's battled with that illness until this day when he finally goes to live and be with the Lord. Waswa Kasirye Gwanga will be remembered for lots of controversies and a number of things, but above all is he's served this country. He's been a military man. His whole life has been in the forces. He's served in the forces all through and all through. Now Kasirye Gwanga has got a very rich history of how he even joined, or how he even comes into the National Resistance Movement, how he joins. Now remember, in 1972, at that time, Idi Amin Dada, Field Marshal President Idi Amin Dada was the president of Uganda. He just come to power, and of course that's the time when Kasirye Gwanga joined as an officer or as a man of the Uganda Army. He served the army. He served in Idi Amin's government and the subsequent governments until this time round, when he meets his death as a 2-star general at the age of 68. Now, Kasirye starts on the 9th of June in 1981. Now, this was only 123 days when the NRM had launched or started their guerrilla war, that protracted war that ended on the 26th of January 19 1986. Now, Kasirye Gwanga was one of the men there who were actually fighting alongside the government forces to see how to actually now liberate Uganda that was riddled in a number of problems at the time when human life was not dignified at all. Now, Kasirye Gwanga, when this government came into power, has been one of the people there. Very controversial. He's been an advisor of the president on security issues and security affairs, on Buganda issues and a number of things. And we'll remember him for all the things that he's done. Apart from being a soldier, and actually he used to refer to himself as a soldier's soldier. That's what he used to call himself. He used to call himself a soldier's soldier. Now remember that Kasirye Gwanga is one of the very few UPDF officers who have attended the most lucrative military academy in the world. That's the Port Leavenworth University in the U.S., or military academy in the U.S. Kasirye Gwanga is one of those men. When President Museveni, actually, one of the reasons why President Museveni also came out to fight the HIV pandemic or the HIV epidemic, Kasirye Gwanga is one of the men who actually taken to Cuba during the times of Fidel Castro, and all of them had to go mandatory testing for HIV/AIDS. When most officers of the UPDF at that time refused, of not the UPDF but the NRA, most officers of the NRA at the time feared to go through the mandatory HIV tests. Kasirye Gwanga was one of those who said, "I'll dare you and do the test." Now, Kasirye Gwanga has been a man of his own stature. We'll not have another Kasirye Gwanga. He's the only Kasirye Gwanga that we've had. We'll remember him for the service rendered to this country of Uganda, especially from 1972, when he decided to put on uniform and to liberate, to serve this country, Uganda, patriotically, as he's done. Now, he covers part and much of today, but we also need to remember that on this day, we also remember Kano Ibrahim Abiriga, the member of parliament from Rua municipality, was also gunned down just yesterday. Now, this period reminds us a number of things. We remember that in 1998, yesterday, 8th of June, is when the ADF rebels torched the students in Chichwamba Technical Institute. That was yesterday in 1998. Now, yesterday in 2018, Ibrahim Abiriga was also gunned down. And we remember now that on this day today, we also now lose General Kasirye Gwanga. Now, that is for this particular period. And we also remember that we started celebrating this day, Heroes Day, in 1990. And now, when we talk about 1998, when we had that Chichwamba Inferno, the Chichwamba massacre, which was also very deplorable, and we remember it in our history, the masterminds of that particular massacre there is now the man Jamil Mukuru, who is actually in prisons, and in Rwanda just a couple of hours ago, in prisons where he was also asking for bail. And because it's rule of law, we also wait to see and to hear what that happens thereafter. Do you also remember that the late Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, a former Prime Minister and also former President of Uganda, died on the 10th of October in 2005. Now, so many people had actually wished that Dr. Apollo Milton Obote would have died on the 9th of October, but of course, because none of us has right over life, we couldn't choose that Dr. Apollo Milton Obote dies on the same day. But of course, the talk there that was there was the man who delivered Uganda to independence in 1962 on the 9th of October, actually died on the 10th of October 2005. But of course, he was not in Uganda at that time, and wherever he died from in South Africa. Now, that's part of what continues to happen, and like I said, God's ways are not our ways. Now, that's about Kasirye Gwanga. Michael Jordan Lukomwa in Nakasero Hospital, where they are, they will get the details and give us and feed us with the information, and let us know how this is going to be done. Remember, the celebration is going to be done scientifically. How it will be done is another thing now that we leave to the organizers. Now, that is at the discretion of the Uganda People's Defense Forces. The forces there will let us know, will teach us, and of course will enable us to understand how it's going to be done or celebrated. Now, burial arrangements and when he'll be buried is something that we cannot delve into right now, except to now just bereave together with the family, to allow them accept our condolences, to pray with them, and to put and to usher them into the hands of God, to console them and to be with them. As we can only say, for Kasirye Gwanga, may his soul rest in eternal peace. May he go and rest peacefully with his ancestors until when we all meet in eternity. Just like the prophet of old David said, my son has gone to be with the Lord. I cannot return. He cannot return to me. It's me who shall go to him. Now the same way, Kasirye Gwanga cannot return to Uganda or to Ugandans. It's we now who shall go to where he is actually gone. Now back to Heroes Day today. Heroes Day is the day that we're celebrating, going to be very scientific. And amazingly, the day had not been chosen for where the celebrations would be. Now, this day's celebrations, because they are scientific, we're going to see another event, just like we saw at the event that happened on the 1st of May, Labor Day celebrations that were held in State House. This year's only public event or national public holiday that we've managed to host as a country is the public holiday that we had in Mbale, and that was the International Women's Day celebrations. It was only that. Now, on the 8th of March and on the 18th, 10 days later, we now realize that yes, a coronavirus was actually real, and it was coming towards us, storming towards us, even when we had no case at the time. But we noticed, yes, it was a pandemic that was spreading globally and everywhere, and we knew that by whichever means it would still get Uganda, and still it crept into Uganda from the Middle East, to be specific, in UAE. That's where it came from, spread all over, and of course from all the other sources, and we are with it today. As we speak, 646 cases confirmed with 102 recoveries, which is also another thing that we need to appreciate and thank God for. Now, when we talk and remember our heroes on this day, we also need now to recognize our health workers who have been at the forefront there to see and to safeguard us, to do whatever they've done to enable us and to make sure that Ugandans live, Ugandans survive, Ugandans do not die of this thing, which has actually killed scores of people across the globe. So many people have died in the US, in Europe, in Asia, South America, and everywhere. We thank God, and we are still very thankful to the Almighty God that even with 600 cases, with 102 recoveries, we've not had any death yet in Uganda. We pray against any death. We do not wish for any death, and we pray that we will not accept or allow any death, not because of our powers, not because of our might, but because of the God that we trust in, the God that we pray, the God that we submit this country to, and the God for whom we live the affairs of this country. For scriptures are very clear. They say that blessed is the nation whose Lord is God. And because Uganda is for God and my country, we know that this country is God's country, and this country will continue to be protected by that same God who keeps us, who guides us, who guards against us, who protects us, and who does all the things for us. Now, as you can see, just right there, the band just ready to receive the president, who, when he steps over and comes on, I am just also very sure that the president has received the bad news of one of his own men, General Kasirye Gwanga, and I can just imagine that his mood could have changed from what it was before the news of Kasirye Gwanga to now when the news has been broken to him that his general, Kasirye Gwanga, is no more. He's gone to be with the Lord. Remember that the fortunate bit about the death of Kasirye Gwanga is he's not died of an accident, he's not died of recklessness, he's not died of, he's not been assassinated, he's not been shot dead, he's not died in a domestic brawl, he's not died in a bar fighting or doing all the things. He's died of natural causes, and so that's one thing that I am very sure that the family must have felt the contentment of having an opportunity to treat their own relative, to maybe even be with him at that last moment, to say bye to them and to hear those last words or the last confessions that he possibly, if he had an opportunity to speak out or to say anything for the family. It's not the same as just being told that your family member, your colleague has actually died, like we saw Abiriga being shot dead when he was going for his Taraweh prayers during that holy month of Ramadan. Many, of course, and much more of what is happening there. Now, this particular day, like I said, has its history from a man called Edidian Muchibi Rutamaguzi and 9 others who sacrificed when they were arrested by the UNLA forces, asked to reveal the whereabouts of Yoweri Museveni and his NRA fighting men. Had they succumbed to the pressures of the UNLA and revealed the whereabouts of Yoweri Museveni and his men, then that would actually have been the end of Museveni and his struggleists, and maybe this day wouldn't be here. Or it would be here, of course, definitely, but in a different shape, with different players, different characters. And that's why we need to remember them. I just do not know what runs in the head of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the president of Uganda. Today, when he remembers his friend Edidian Muchibi Rutamaguzi, I do not know what runs in the heads of these fighting forces or these fighting men who actually knew that their lives were hanging by the thread at just the confession or the refusal to confess by Muchibi Rutamaguzi. What about if Muchibi Rutamaguzi had actually confessed that this is where the men were? What would have been that? So this is the day that we're celebrating today. Now, this day was first celebrated in 1990, and this, to be precise, is 30 years ago. When we started celebrating this day, it was gazetted and, of course, by an act of parliament, made an official public national holiday in the 2001 Act. When Parliament passed an act in 2001 that this day will be National Heroes Day. That we celebrate today. Now, National Heroes Day, remembering all the people, it was broadened to move from only the fighters in the Luwero Bush War, but all the other Ugandans who have also contributed. We have heroes and heroines whose contributions has been above self, and they focused to the nation and done a number of things that we need to recognize and remember them for. Now, one thing that we remember about such days is the glamour that comes with it, the tradition and the organization that comes with it, is that this day, to be specific, is normally celebrated or organized in places where the fighting was, because that's why it makes much more meaning. This day is celebrated in areas who have a historical contribution to the 1981-86 Bush War, as we remember, because in many of the places where this particular day is actually celebrated, there are several mass graves. There are mass graves where civilians who participated in the war were killed and buried, and to remember them, the monuments that have been built in those particular areas. In 2018, you remember when you went to Birembo, and the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, visited, and that was one of his maiden state visits as Prime Minister of Ethiopia. He came to Uganda, and of course he was in Birembo, where that the wreath was laid to the mass grave in Birembo for the fighters who were there. And to be specific, at that particular place in Birembo, where there is that particular mass grave, we also told the history of that place, that President Museveni was actually around that same place. I think preparing lunch, or and we told the meal that day was, I think, cassava, and the shooters from the hills of if you've been to Birembo to Kasambia, I think it's called Kasambia, Birembo in Bukomero, not Bukomero, Birembo it's actually Birembo in that particular part of Uganda, in Kakumiro. In Kakumiro, they say they were actually shelled, and they only survived by whiskers not to die on that particular day. So there are lots of memories on this particular day. Now, just recently, last year we saw this day was celebrated in Kasanje, where they saw another mass grave. Now, Kasanje, being that cradle or that peninsula that connects Wakiso, Entebbe to Mpiji and a number of places, its history is also another very good history. That many of the fighting forces at that time, the UFM, FEDEMU, and other fighting forces, I think even the NRA, also many of them actually camped in those particular areas to see, because it was actually easier for that particular area to cross to the Lake Victoria and possibly cross. And we actually know that it was at that particular place there where President Museveni actually crossed crossed by water to go to Nairobi, and I think eventually to Tanzania. Then he found his way of how to escape and run away from the forces that were looking for him. So Heroes Day is celebrated in many of the places where some of those historical sites are, where it's got that history to the contribution of the Liberation War. Now, the other thing that we also experience on this day is the medals that are normally awarded to the different individuals whose contribution is eminent to liberating Uganda. Now, this is what will continue to miss out during these scientific celebrations that we mark. For example, this year's 2020 Heroes Day celebrations. One of the things that, of course, we will miss out on is the scientific I beg your pardon, the scientific, but the word of medals that would see the different speeches, of course, from the different players, and the memories that people have about these particular days or these particular events. And so that's what we celebrate on this particular day when we talk about Heroes Day. Celebrating men and women, the heroes and heroines whose selfless contribution at the national level that supersedes, goes above self, is what we are experiencing. And of course, when you look at that, there is everybody seems to be set, waiting for the president of Uganda to also now come and speak to the nation. It's going to be celebrated scientifically, and where the president is going to be there, or if rather means, is you have nothing to worry about. Our responsibility, our national mandate, our duty is actually to deliver the president to you from wherever he will be, for you to be part of our Heroes Day today. But like we said, Heroes Day today is also now, we will celebrate it as we remember General Kasirye Gwanga, who has also just died today on Heroes Day. It will be very easy for everybody and many of us to remember General Kasirye Gwanga's day of death, because it has happened on a day that we celebrate heroes. And to many people, they thought this was a hoax when the news started flying by and around on social media platforms saying that General Kasirye Gwanga has died and gone to be with the Lord. Many people thought maybe it is just a hoax of the day. But our teams, of course, they are in hospital. Jordan Lukomwa and the others have confirmed to us. And, of course, now following through with what is happening, Newsroom is preparing. And will get us they will get us the details of this day. And, of course, what happens thereafter for General Waswa Kasirye Gwanga. We'll take a break, and as we also again prepare to bring you the president of Uganda, who we guess is about to speak to the nation today on this Heroes Day. Now remember that the celebrations are going to be done like that. There will be speeches, of course, from the different stakeholders, as is normally the norm and as is the custom of celebrating this particular day. My name is Jaga Ndasimakola. We'll take a break as we still prepare for the president still to come through to us here on UBC TV. Just stay tuned and do not go away as we wait for the president to speak to us.